Good morning, everybody. Happy Friday. Looks like we're getting more of the same here so far today. Get your neck brace on. Intraday, of course. From the daily chart perspective, it's like, is the market open? Something going on here? Anyway, getting into September here a little bit. Let's see if people come back from vacation, start to light a fire under things. All right. So job report out, whip back and forth. And what did it come down to? Let's just see here. Yeah, kind of close to this right there. So actually a higher low, right? Which you can see the tails, but whip back and forth. So, every morning, Dan and I go through the markets, open trades, gaps, but share some thing you can take into the future education for trading. And this might be obvious, but you see this bar right there? When you see that, it just says, hey, back off. Stay away from this thing for a while. Right? There's mass confusion going on here. And just let it settle down. Now, that being said, looking at the closing prices, I'm not going to take the time to shift this to closing prices, but you can visualize this to see what, the closes and coming back up and where it turned, ultimately where it ended the bar. It's kind of just like a little pullback type of a pattern there. And this was the noise that whipped back and forth. So not that I want to ignore it because it did happen, but in the bigger picture point of view, it was just that noise. Nothing, not a big deal happened. So far pre-market, futures are making a higher high and a higher low. We'll see what happens as it comes into this resistance area. We know there are going to be sellers. Spiders, same whipsaw, of course. And see where it bottomed out to. Yeah, not a big deal. Still got 25 minutes to see where this ends. And I don't have the how much time is left there. All right. Just looking here. And so whipsaw sell setup's going to form over here. And I'm not so sure I would take it. Maybe if it double topped up there, a little M top, I would. But just erratic price movement here. But the initial move down as far as SPX goes, here, this premium at 45.60. 45.50 is a big number if you go out to the following month's expiration. I know it's kind of close, but that's about as far away as you're going to get. And considering the whip to the downside, you could, go for that. That's what I see. There's premium there. I know that's 45.50 is going to be a big level. It's already proven to be. And then down below, 44.80, which I think that's more along the lines of a no-brainer. Let me just take a second peek here. Well, that's 35 by 45. 44.85 shouldn't be, 44.85. You've got, there's 44.80. So breaking through here certainly wouldn't be that difficult based on that whipsaw and sell setup. And then you got the void. So as always, waiting 5 minutes just to see which way this thing jiggles. But 44.80, you do have a swing low support here. And you've got a line of defense there where buyers would show up, and that would be a pretty big move if it went down there. So even if it got close to that strike, there's going to be buyers there. So there you can go. Qs. Well, they whipped up and went down in a nasty way. Where they go down to 40, 33, 79, 50-ish. Yeah, right near that prior low. So it held support, bounced up, initially went up above the high there. So nasty whipsaw, kind of a messy sell setup, but a wide range bar down. That's a power bar to the downside. As we always say, that's the void or the weakest link, but let's show that it can get through it. So far, it's holding there. First rejection was there. Sells obvious that there were sell orders there, and it's just chopping here sideways. We'll see, uptrend. And we need a little more information as far as intraday to give us some guidance. And we'll wait for that. Diamonds, they've just been the mess, less active here pre-market. So we'll just go to the futures, but they whipsawed back and forth. Just gonna look at the transports here for now. So they're bottoming out. This is a good sign, but this market is Mr. Schizophrenic. It hasn't been able to clear the highs. Have your alert up there. Have your alert down here. It's going sideways for a long time. It's that's got to break. How long can it go sideways here? I'm not sure, but so interest rates going up here. Why? Jobless claims weren't good. I'm not so sure. 1755. So I mentioned earlier in the week this head and shoulders pattern. And one of my comments was, look, if this thing fails, this is likely to go up quite a bit. So now you've got this move here. And should we get like that 56, whatever, we get a nice green bar there, that's going to be a long. So that should be good for financials. Will it unnerve the market? I'm not so sure. I'm just curious now, what is GS doing? Yep, that's going up. Well, Wells Fargo getting shellacked. But you see TBT is going up, and it's supporting these financials, which that's turning down. So there's other things, maybe cyclicals. It's going to be an interesting morning from an intermarket trading point of view. Which force is going to take over and lead? Futures, same sell setup there. If you're doing spiders, or it's pre-market here, but if you were going to short them here, I'd put a stop up here, up above the highs there. Give it some room and look to add at the appropriate time. Qs, same sell setup there. I mean, this is a scalp. I'd be hitting the button if I wasn't talking to you and seeing how far it would drop. And well, almost up there. Whipped back and forth. All the equities are whipping, but look at that weekly chart. How bearish can you get? Sure, it might come in a bit, but it would take a whole hell of a lot to negate that wide range bar. When I'm looking to the left and I'm saying, well, look at that wide range bar. It whipped all the way down. Look at that wide range bar and it whipped all the way down, but recovered. But this one's a retest pattern. So a bit different. This one historically would be stronger. Look at that wide range bar. And that one failed. So it's certainly not out of the realm of possibilities. But like I said, this one was within an uptrend. This one was within the uptrend. This one was within the well-established mess. And so as far as being a W pattern thing, this part of it, yes, it's a W, but the textbook type of situation for a W is one in which you have more bars moving down, that where the left side has gotten climactic. This is just to the bottom of the trading range. That being said, it's tradable. It's just not textbook. It's just not. But this retest and wide range bar is a powerful thing. So would I trade it from this time frame and manage it from this time frame? No, because it's in a trading range. But to look on over here, which the wide range bar is up here, and then it did exactly what it should do, meaning the sell setup failed. You guys get that? All right. This is getting into more intricate multiple time frame analysis, but the weekly, looking as this does, this sell setup at resistance, just from retracement analysis should make you skeptical of shorting this, but this sell setup is supposed to fail based on that wide range bar, and it did. And then, we talked about this earlier in the week, how it went sideways. We got the correction bar here, and now it's reaching its destination, right? This congestion area right there. This is the current. So anyway, and then we see intraday, this kind of price action at the destination. Now, was the destination going to be where my line is, or was it going to be all the way up here? I don't know. You don't know. So you just mark off an area. That's why I like this tool, marking off areas. And then as it gets in there to that area, to expect something. And then you look at smaller time frames to see, is that transition actually developing? As the development of a turn, right, begins in lower time frames and then evolves into higher time frames. All right. So this is what we call RB over here. That's what you're referring to. All right. So that's the 1, 2, 3. And now this setup is one that I coined many years ago as a 1, 2, 3, 4. After seeing these not work out and seeing the going under that bar, it's like, I'm going to buy it above the high of the bottoming tail bar. That little correction bar should take it above there. So this is even a better setup than just the 1, 2, and the 3, but either one works. But I always like little failure patterns or correction bars. Just that little wiggle adds some extra, I guess, a conviction to the pattern. It's just a stronger pattern, not my conviction, so to speak. But just that wiggle makes it just a more reliable pattern when you get that kind of a wiggle. Dow just going nowhere. This continues to move up nicely. Bitcoin. We talked about the bull flag. It's moving up. Looks great. Oil. Getting above that pivot high there. So this is not your textbook 1, 2, 3. But look, we start with the textbook and then we move to, all right, this is a variation of the textbook. It doesn't always have to be the textbook, as long as you understand the foundational information, meaning there was some kind of meaningful move, there was some kind of range expansion bar, there is a resting period, and there is a void. Okay. Well, gold, we looked at that. There's the futures, top of the range there. And it's going back here. Well, things are going to be, as I said, interesting, and see how they unfold. All yours, Dan.
Good morning. Happy Zero DTE Day. All right, all our opens are fine. We're getting a couple nice gaps. I've made some adjustments pre-market. I talked about net looks great. That's a 1, 2, 3. UEC, we're in, sold half pre-market. We're up 25% already in a couple days. This MAT, we bought yesterday. We re-entered. So that was a perfect little. And hey, and detective, I know you're here. I think you were asking about cup and handle. And there's not a bad one. I mean, I could find a better one, but it moved up. And you see how it's just making a little cup, a little curl here. That's the handle part. So it's like a derivative buy setup is all. Bitcoin, we're in a number of things here. BTBT gapping up. We're in Mara. I tighten the stop. We're in coin. We're going to have to roll a covered call, but we also are short puts. BITW. We're in this one's gapping up. That looks great. You know, Greg's talking about continuation pattern. There's one right there. That's a 180. That's where we entered it. That's a beautiful one. Beautiful continuation pattern. I better write that one down because we're working on future MT lives and then we're going to do one coming up here on continuation patterns. I'm going to put that in there. That's beautiful. All right, let's see what I got over here. So yeah, TBT. If we close with a big fat engulfing bar, then we're going to have to buy that on Monday. Bottoming pattern here. See, multi-month consolidation. 20 MA flattening out. Mr. This is kind of a go-to when we look at Bitcoin. Wow, Bitcoin's up 1290 now. Yeah, Joe Kernan, I love watching him talk to anybody and politicians. He fights with Steve East. What's his last name? Steve from CNBC. Fights with him all the time. He was fighting with the Bitcoin ladies this morning who were just crazy bullish on it. You know, if you're a cult, there's nothing it don't matter. That's all you know how to do is talk bullish if you're in that cult. And he's just asking questions. Oh, so the tulips, you know, the tulip bubble, those things were worth 188 cents, whatever it was back then. But he's saying, yeah, Doji and the dog coin, dog, Doji, whatever. They're like, yeah, you know, if people want to put value into it, then yeah, it's worth it. And he's just kind of shaking his head. And then they're like, so things have changed, Joe. It was really a fun dialogue to watch. All right, but anyway, my point is, I got sidetracked on Bitcoin. But this would also be a beautiful continuation breakout over yesterday's high. So let me set an alarm on this. All right, look at those three moving averages. So that, you know, if you just take off the candlesticks, that's telling you under the hood that you got a strong uptrend. So then we put the candles on to tell us when to get in and when to get out. That's done. Let's keep going. big gap up here. Looks like an ADR, Chinese. Gap's too big for me, but bottoming. Look, see, that was a beautiful bottoming pattern, folks. Look, came down, multi-month, downside shakeout, greater than 100% retracement, 3 inside bars, wide range igniting. That's a beautiful bottoming pattern. Yeah, Thane, you're absolutely right. No volume. You're right. I don't even know what this thing is. Couple stocks in the news that I just saw on, just right from the journal today. Space, and the newspapers late, obviously, so these came out yesterday or last night. But space, the FAA is telling them they can't go to Mars until they finish their investigation. But this failed breakout right there was a definite tell that something was wrong. Mondelez, the Nabisco people are on strike. It's 1, 2, 3 on the weekly, actually. You know what? This is a sell setup on the daily, a 1, 2, 3 on the weekly. I actually like that one. Walmart raising his minimum wage across the board to $12.
Hey, Dan, this
Yeah.
pre-markets cost me a lot of money not being able to press the button on that futures sell setup. Somebody's got to pay. It ain't going to be me.
Call Nancy.
Exactly.
All right, General Motors, they're saying, they're slowing production again because they can't get chips. That looks like a breakdown. That's a definite day trade idea right there. So Lauren's asking about OCFT. Oh, and then Joe was also having a good discussion with some people about, wealth disparity. And he's like, don't you all think it's a problem where 40% or whatever, what third, maybe whatever the number is. He says 35% of people, again, I'm paraphrasing, but 35% of people over 60 years old, let's say, don't have $500 of cash reserves to their name. But then you got these people, it was announced yesterday, this SPAC and meme, all this stuff's going nuts. Somebody paid over $1 million for a picture of a rock, a meme rock. It went for $1 million, and 1/3 of Americans don't have $500 to their name. He's like, don't you see a problem in this? All right, so bottoming pattern here. Yeah. Oh, but and we also teach when to get on board. We need the action bar. So I would not buy over yesterday's high because I'm not quite certain yet. But over the week's high, then yes, I think it is worth a shot. You got a price void, it's bottoming, you got a Climo on the weekly. That's that identical subject that I just kind of covered about when to get on board. We finally got into Clove yesterday. It finally hit over my entry, and it's getting a nice little pop here. MMAT here, this one too. This is another bottoming pattern we're in. So my up alarm is going off. We're gonna, I'll watch that at the open. I'll be sell another third. But we had a nice, no, we have the full lot on this. We sold a third of UEC. No, detective. Well, I don't know. You need a bigger stop, obviously, but no. Let's watch it and see. Daku here, bottom. Yeah, no, you're right. You're right. But let's come back to it in 30 minutes. All right, Daku, that earnings that had a nice gap. from major support here, but now it's coming in deep. I'm watching that as a put spread. Yext had earnings 12.20, gapping down to the bottom of the range. We'll come back to you. SAIC, it's not very liquid pre-market, so I don't trust it. We'll come back to you. Papa Delta, $50. That's a big gap, but and bullish weekly, but there's no entry on the daily. OOMA gap into 22, way up here, no pattern. MDB force, wow, $60 gap. Wow, that's 15%. Come on, they're doing something right. Yeah, remember we were considering a put spread on Wednesday. And remember we said, folks, I remember saying, wow, we're selling off into the close or to the open right here. I clearly said these premiums are very high, and that's usually means pending news, unless you're, typically, you're a wild beast with high volatility. So now it looks like a call spread candidate. All right, let me keep going here. Midla, that looks like a buyout when things trade in a coma like that. So I got no interest. HPE, bullish weekly. We'll come back to you. Maybe 30-minute high. REI, no pattern, no reversal yet. Oh, there's our Daku. All right, let's watch Daku. Put that in a window. Avco had earnings. That ain't bad at all. That ain't bad. It's in my trading plan. Just like, when Greg said, wow, we're getting a nice bounce at the open. What a chaotic thing here. Oh, a number of the CNBC people were also continuing to bash the Fed. Santoli he's like, you're never going to get out of this box. You're just the Fed doesn't want to upset it. So the jobs report being disappointing was going to allow them, allow Powell to continue his nonsense of this. And Santoli says, so think about this. Do you really think pumping all these billions of dollars into the market is going to help getting bus drivers back to work? I mean, he's right. I think it's just BS politics of he's keeping the stock market up. I've been bitching about the Fed for months now. I'm the one that started it, and then everybody started following my bitching. All right, so Daku, I'm just going to look to see how spready they are, just in case it does hold. Yeah, exactly. Let's see. We would do the 290s right now. Actually, tighter than I thought. 75 by 93. Usually, they're more insulting than that. So it's a definite candidate. Definite candidate here. It's 9:32, so I'm not rushing into it, but we could do $10 wide. $10 wide's 57 cents right now. Just with the futures being so freaking chaotic right now, I don't want to rush into anything, but that's a candidate. Yeah, I hear you, Rich. And I forget who said it. Somebody said it yesterday. Oh, it was a college professor. It was that dude, Siegel, maybe. He appears every now and then. He's a smart boy. he was saying, look, the Fed, the Fed was appointed by Congress. So of course there's politics involved, but he said, yeah, they could abolish the Fed, but good luck, good luck. Who envisions Congress